Hello, my loves, and welcome back to another reading. Today, I would like to do a sort of forecast of what's coming for us this November. So, I'm feeling called to pull from the Woodland Wardens deck first. Just making sure I got all my cards here. Okay. All right, Spirit. What is it that you would like us to know for this coming November? What is the general energy that is coming in for us? The Coyote and Datura, deceit. There's craftiness here. There is obfuscation, the obscuring of things here. I'm going to grab the book for this one. I just want to get more of the vibe of this. It's always interesting doing readings because sometimes you get one card and there's so much that comes through. Actually, hilariously, okay, we want more than just one card. So, should I still read the meaning of this? Okay, we'll read the meaning of this in a second. All right. The Bat and Hellebore, intuition. Okay. This is already, pretty kind of obvious message of there is the need to listen to your gut feelings, listen to your intuition about what's coming in here. We have Hellebore and Datura here, which both are sort of baneful. I mean, Datura is hallucinogenic, right? I believe that Hellebore has some... I can't remember exactly what it's used for because I don't... I've always wanted to grow it because it's a beautiful flower. But I don't work with... I haven't been able to. And I, honestly, at this point, because I'm doing my Sing and Witch thing, making spell songs and things like that, the plant stuff is not necessarily for me, especially like a poison path. I'm saying this for a reason. It is for a reason. I think... Okay, yes. The intuition of being able to follow your own heart's path, okay, and not being deceived, not having that path obscured by what is not meant for you. Like, it is so fine, it is so cool, to follow your curiosities and the things that interest you, but they don't all necessarily need to be exactly the path that you need to be walking here, right? Okay. I'm being told I don't really need to read from the books now, which, funny how just pulling another card's going to reveal what I need to know. I love it. Also, emphasis here on both of these creatures, both of these beings are nighttime beings, right? You don't really see coyotes, you don't really hear them until the sun has gone down. You don't really hear bats, if you have bats in your area, until the sun is, well, in the summertime they do like to come out a little bit before the sun is gone straight down, but we don't hear them. They are not active until the nighttime, So this is very much giving me moon energy of we don't know what it is that is sort of obscuring that path, covering that path from us to be able to see it. However, there is this path that we need to find by not necessarily using our eyes, by not necessarily using our senses, but with a caveat of what is your body telling you? What is your gut telling you? If you take a moment to sit there and think of something that brings you a lot of joy and happiness, and conjure up that image. Check in and see how that feels literally, like within your physical body. Yeses feel like that. And they're usually tinged depending on like how big of a crazy yes it is that you're going towards, because if it's something that is very brand new and exciting and a little anxious, it can also be tinged with that anxiety, but also that excitement, right? But also sit there and think of things that you would never want for yourself. Feel that in your body. What is a no for you? And that can give you a basis for understanding, for hearing your body when it is telling you that this thing is a yes or a no, right? It's something that is pretty sad in all of the ways that we've been taught to be really disconnected from ourselves and our communities and things, that we are like very disconnected from our physical bodies, from the way that it tells us whether there is danger or whether there is abundance for us to be, to be had somewhere. So there is a path here that gets illuminated, but not for your eyes to see. It is for you to feel in your gut, you to feel in your bones. That is the way forward. Okay, let's keep going here. I also want to get a Samhain card from the Seasons of the Witch deck, because we are, for the entirety of November, in Ireland, November is the month of Samhain, not just a day. It is the month of honoring ancestors, of understanding the life and death cycles and the work that needs to be done around those things. I was listening to, oh my goodness, Laura O'Brien, I believe, today. She has a Morgan podcast, and she was talking about Morgan at Samhain. And something that's coming to mind right now, which is, the message for us here, is about this is the time of year where you have these grannies and they'll be sitting and they'll be getting rid of the rotted or moldy or food that's not going to keep for the winter, and we get rid of that. And that's part of the cycle of life and death. You can't keep the things that are not actually going to provide you nourishment, right? You can't keep that food because it's actually going to poison you, or it's simply just going to sit there and rot, but take up precious space to put in the nourishment that you need. So very much a time of year of taking care of ourselves, self-care of not only our mind, mental health, but of our spirits, of our physical bodies. Again, getting in touch and being grounded in our physical bodies. Very important right now. It just popped into mind, so I gotta say it, but I've been taking care of my skin. Oh, beautiful. Okay. Taking care of my skin a lot more, I've found, since the heat has kicked on in the house and it's drier in here. So I oil up my skin like twice, maybe 3 times a week, depending on how dry it is in here. I've also been taking care of my hair, and these things keep me grounded in my body. They also bring me delight because my skin feels just scrumptious and my hair feels so silky and smooth. And that is something that is very pleasing to me, but again, also very grounding in my body. And this is obviously very much a season of earthliness of our bodies here. You know, death reminding us of the fact that we are in these bodies here right now in this time. So elders, birthed from seed within the belly of the moon, they are the wise felt touches over our hearts and felt deep within the marrow of our spirits. So very much getting the vibes of both living elders and past elders. This is that season, right? I'm being pulled to the mushrooms here. The interconnectedness, the woven, the the mycelial network underground that, you know, we can't even sort of fathom. It's like a nervous system, almost, the way, you know, at least in the way that it's shaped, being connected to each other, but it is their connection to each other, like they're all connected to the same veins, to the same heart that pumps through them all. That is the imagery that is coming here. And especially with elders, we are never disconnected from those who have passed. But even those who are still here, even when we do tend to, unfortunately, especially here in North America, neglect them and forget about them while they're still alive, because, you know, it's no, there's no doubt that it is hard to watch our family members decline, right? It is hard to be reminded of our own mortalities, that we all become disabled in time just from the wearing of time, the longer that we live, right? But there is such great wisdom, even if there is like loss of memory, but when the playfulness starts coming back and that childlike wonder starts coming back, you know, for some, not all, take it as it is, but I'm very much seeing these sort of like the wisdom in returning to our childlike state, that wonder-seeking state. You know, looking at this moon here, she's conjuring that for herself. Yes, my baby. Yes. Oh, hello, Nina. No, oh, ma'am, please don't come up. Nope. She might want to make, oh, no, okay. Come on. Come on. Okay, check it out. Black cats will be a sign for you right now. Yeah, baby. Yeah, my love. Okay, you can't sit here, ma'am. Okay, that's it. You said hi. I know. Black cats, you know, elders, these sages. Oh, I'm just making sure, actually. Oops. Just want to make sure that I am recording. And I am. Okay. Sages, wise women, wise men, wise people. These people who have lived these lives, these corporeal lives of being very earthly, grounded into living for such a long period of time, and all the wisdom that, you know, comes with that. The cycle of that, the spiral of it, we keep on coming back to these same points, but things have changed slightly, right? We're always sort of revisiting the same sorts of themes in life. The cycles of the moon, right? The cycles of the, what do I want to say here? The mushrooms coming up every fall. Not all, you know, obviously not all mushrooms are only fall mushrooms, but it's a pretty, the imagery of fall comes with mushrooms, right? But But the cycles of that thing, the land has either gotten more fertile or less fertile, right? Depending on what has been done to it and what has disturbed it or added to it. So it's this cycle, but it's not just a circle, a closed loop. It's always a spiral, and we're always sort of moving forward, but always revisiting the same things. Just as the cycle of life. We're not necessarily experiencing birth, youth and oh, my words are escaping me. Adulthood and then becoming an elder all in a year, and doing that year after year after year. And we're doing this over the span of a lifetime, but we are experiencing that all the time by watching those around us get old, right? Even if it's just the people who we've grown up watching on television and in films and things like that, or listened to their music or read their books, and we find out that they've passed. But nobody ever truly leaves us. We can leave these bodies, obviously, and we do. That is the point of being here, is to be in this cycle of life and death, right? But in that cycle of life and death, we all essentially become the fertilizer for the next generation. We all become the food for what will fuel the next generation. And an easy way of thinking about this too is, the way that art's been able to be recorded, the music that's been able to be recorded, the paintings or the drawings in caves that have been able to be preserved. We don't know these people, but they affect us. They will continue to affect us and our children and our children's children and their grandchildren. Nothing ever truly dies. And that's kind of almost the lesson of being on this earth, where that is what happens, that it's life and death. But even in that, or not even in that, but in that is immortality. Right? Okay. Oh, we are having a oracle deck night, it seems, because I've been called to pull out my Citadel deck. Very earthly energy, very, very in tune with this time of year, what November is. I know a lot of people like to bring out the Yule decorations early. I never do. I don't even like to bring them out until December, because it always felt to me that November is that quiet month. I mean, where I have lived in my life, and where I've lived most of my life especially, this month ends up getting pretty rainy and dreary and dark, and everything is wet and damp, and leaves are processing, leaves are decaying and becoming fertilizer for the soil, while first being shelter for things like fireflies and frogs over the winter. There is protection in this death and decay. There is sustaining in this death and decay. I mean, even what we harvest, even when we harvest things at their peak, that is part of the cycle of death and decay, feeding into our need for food, right? Other animals' need for food. The heir, yes, we are the heirs of the beautiful plants, the beautiful things that our ancestors have planted and gathered and used and come to understand. We get that understanding, and we get to grow from that. It's not just this little, drawing on the wall anymore, these dried herbs. It becomes something that we continue to grow, and we can make grow even more abundantly because of what we've learned from our elders, our ancestors. And that I'm very much picking up on the metallicness here, the wealth of that. It is a wealth, this knowledge. Oh, okay. I was just speaking and I heard something over here that almost sounded to me like a candle going out. But it was actually one of my oracle decks, the Seasons of the Witch, on the side that I have it in my little container, was moving. I don't know what that's about, but let's get some more of those cards, I guess. Now, was it this deck, the Mabin deck, that we wanted? Yes. Okay. So some Mabin energy in here again. So equinox, autumn equinox energy in here. Again, we're talking about harvesting and fertility cycles and the cycle of life and death, and how life and death feeds into new life always. That is what we're here doing, right? Okay, what do you want us to know? Peppers. Be fierce about the ways in which you protect yourself. Allies away. Okay, here's where I'm being guided that yes, there is protection here. And I think I heard this earlier, but we got distracted with Kitty. I had to cough at one point, I think. I don't know, something. When I'm doing these readings, it's so interesting because like it kind of almost immediately goes out of my head unless there's the story that I'm supposed to pull through the whole thing. Yes, there's always allies. There's always allies in the living things that we have around us. There's allies in that. There are allies in our elders around us, the people around us. Obviously, this is with the huge caveat of like with discernment. Do not try to sort of like, oh, here's the message. Do not try to be friends with people who you really don't understand and who could potentially be very dangerous to you. Datura is very dangerous. So is Hellebore. It is something that you have to get the knowledge from somebody who knows better to be able to work with them. So I'm hearing the word vetting, which is funny because I heard that earlier today for something. There is a vetting. Be fierce about the ways in which you protect yourself. Vet the people that you would like to bring in. Vet the things, the spirits that you would like to work with at this time, or any time really, honestly. Not to fearmonger, not to tell you that you are in danger at every moment, because that is not really the case. In general, things are meant to work in sort of symbiosis, as in a biome. Both, physically, we are all part of the biomes that we live in, right? The environments that we live in, but also spiritually, we are part of biomes. If you have not done any sort of, if you have not contacted any deities yet, who I feel like you have been feeling that you need to get in touch with, and I'm seeing flame here, so gods that are associated with flame, the flame of knowledge, the spark of life, that's what's coming to me right now. Those type of deities. This is for somebody specific, but it could be for many of you, honestly, because I've been feeling this for a long time, but I think the gods have missed us. And in whatever sort of relationships we come to be in with them, I think they've missed us. And I think that's why there's been such a big resurgence in things, like, where is it? Iceland and Norway have reopened up churches in Asatru, or is it Asatru? Don't quote me on that, but like honoring the old gods again, the gods that are ancestral to them, right? Seek out your ancestral deities. Definitely am getting, for some of you, it will be some sort of like flame keeper, could be hearth keeper, Hestia. I am seeing Loki. These people who carry flames, who can give that spark of life. They're knocking on your door, and they are here to, they would like to work with you in whatever capacity that ends up being, whatever is, the nature of your relationship. Also, always ancestors, only the ones who mean well, who have healed, because there is stuff with that. Always be, it's just like dealing with people in real life. You should always come in understanding that you have to get to know somebody before you can understand if they are a good fit for you as a closer friend, or if they're more of like a business partner where it isn't so intimate, or whether this is somebody who could cause you harm, so you're just going to back away and put up the boundaries of, actually, this is not for me. So yes. Do we want more of the map and deck? Okay. We do want more of the Samhain deck, though. So when the decks moved over here, it was like the Samhain deck and the Mabon deck were both kind of like moving like this, and then finally pushed my Letha deck forward. Interesting, very interesting. That in itself is a sign, or just letting you know that there will be big signs that are kind of not ignorable. Or I find sometimes that when I see some things, it takes me a second to understand that it is a sign, right? Like I'll just see something that's out of the ordinary, but because I'm just going about my day, your brain kind of shuts off a bit, because, we live the same kind of, cycles on a daily basis, that there's a lot of stuff that we end up ignoring. And then I kind of double take and I'm like, oh, hello. And then I go take out a tarot deck and ask if that was a sign. So, but I'm, with that, the message is the signs will be more noticeable this month. You will not be able to ignore them. Frog, may the lily beneath your breasts allow you to drink from its healing waters. Be still, for there is serenity behind the drowning croaks. So I feel like part of the message of this card is that because, we have a lot of this earthly animal energy. I mean, immediately I was called to pull from the woodland wardens, right? Also grounding in not only to your body as a being, a creature, an animal of this earth, and not only grounding into, elders in community and your ancestors and the things that we have been bestowed through time, all this knowledge, there is also this grounding in with the natural world around you, with nature. We are nature, right? There are allies in nature too, and those allies could be coyote, bat, and frog, right? I'm being pulled back to the peppers card here, and to these chili peppers here, and also a simple warding oil of whatever oil you have. It doesn't need to be expensive. It doesn't need to be fancy. It can just be vegetable oil. And warming that a little bit and adding chili flake for protection, as a protection oil. Also, I'm hearing, again, with the lighting flame deities, also to speed things up, to add fire to it, to cook it faster, cook whatever your magic is faster. Definitely, this is earthly things here. This is doing practical things in this reading. This is taking the knowledge that is there, that has been given to all of us. You know, it's a beautiful thing that we live in a time with so much knowledge that is readily available. And I know that there are people who are trying to, you know, create AI slot books and things like that. So very much have discernment on the deceit that is happening in the world. But find the people who you trust and see what they recommend for the knowledge that you need to learn how to do what you need to do in order to become an elder yourself, to become wise yourself, to learn the things that you have come here to learn in order to do the work that you have come here to do. And, you know, again, with the message of working with deities, but more so of the making a magical oil, there is witchcraft here too, which has always been very earthly, but earthly combined with spirit. Combined with spirit, we have these flying creatures here. But these earthly delights here, you know, that are very much useful in magic. Okay. All right, I'm being told more of the Samhain deck, so we'll get this reading finished up. Silence. We've gotten this card, I think, several times, or at least I've gotten it once, and I know it came out in a reading recently, but there's a sweet embrace in the nothingness stillness brings, a presence of self fully embodied. Yeah, there's very much, is that it for this reading? Very much this message of being fully present here in the world. While it's so interesting, this reading is very much giving me like, ground yourself into your life, ground yourself into your physical body, you know, enjoy your physical body, bring it delight and pleasure, you know, just these simple things. But with this, I'm also getting, and with the other cards here, that we are talking about, you know, ancestry and spirit being brought in to be here in the physical, right? Because that's, again, the point of this earth. The point of living a mortal life is to experience all of this life and death. This is embodying your spirit self here into the vessel of your body on this earth. And then, therefore, you become this conduit between spirit and this physical earth. And that is a very high magic that I think more and more people have been tapping into, certainly, but more definitely do. And that can be in really understanding what it is that you are here to do. Seeing the lineages of what people have done in the past, the roles that society tends to have just naturally on its own, and taking up, the modern iteration. Because again, we have that spiral, right? So it's the same thing, but it's not. It's new again. Taking up the mantle that you came here to wear, that crown on your head that rules over this specific thing for you, that is the power of whatever it is that you do. For me, it's music, right? That's my crown, is music. It is singing. It is using my voice. That is my crown. What is yours? What is the thing that you know that you came here to do? And it doesn't have to be a singular thing. It could be, a sort of Venn diagram of bubbles that overlap, but that do sort of like work together, because, we're not just singular beings. We're all interested, again, in the curiosities of many things in our life. But there is going to be something that you have just naturally been able to tap into, because it is your higher spirit. That is what that is. There is something that you have been naturally able to tap into and be so powerful with. And if you've doubted that and have put it aside because, maybe it was childish to think you could do that. A lot of artists kind of go that way because our society doesn't like artists and creators. It says that art is unnecessary, but everything is necessary. It's just money that's unnecessary. It's just capitalism that's unnecessary, that likes to make us think that the only thing that's important is to make the company that we work for make more money, when it doesn't need that. We need people to be fully embodied in themselves here on this earth, to make this earth here, beautiful, okay, sorry, to continue this cycle of life and death, to continue adding fertility to the world that we live in, but that our descendants are going to be living in. We must be the good ancestors here, right? We must make the world into something beautiful, and more beautiful with every generation. I feel like that's what Earth is here for, is to sort of teach us this. But to allow what we can bring in from our highest spirit, our spirit that is still connected to spirit, to outside of this earthly life, to bring that in, to root it into this physical realm. As gardeners, trying our hardest to make this, like the shepherds that humans are supposed to be in this world, like the gardeners that we're supposed to be in this world, the tenders of land, to make this earth, these lives, more fertile, more abundant. Beautiful. Yep. All right. That's all I'm getting. What a beautiful message. Just, this beautiful cycle of life and death. And thank you so very much for being here with me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.